Welcome back to our next edition of Talon Talk. It's our second consecutive edition with a UNF tennis athlete, Dominic Bartonen, previously, and now Kit Gulihur. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you for having me.
So Kit, you've been a household name the last year that you've been here at UNF. Tons of accolades in the spring, obviously during the championship season, tournament MVP, Scholar Athlete of the Year, first team, and then achieved historic rankings and doubles and singles this fall. Just give an intro of yourself to everybody that may not know you.
Yeah, well, I'm Kit. I'm a senior here at UNF. I've been playing tennis since I could practically walk, but I didn't get serious about it until I was around 13. I was kind of an all-around athlete, jack of all trades, master of none. But yeah, I was born in California, but I'm a military kid, so I've grown up all around, and tennis has pretty much been 90% of my life. And I'd say that's pretty much it when it comes to me. I have a lot of hobbies outside of tennis. But yeah, I'd say tennis is probably my strong point, which I guess shows with all the results you just mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing Division I sports in general is a huge achievement. Not a lot of people really grasp how difficult it is to be able to do that. Obviously, started at a Big 12 school, and then we're playing here now, and both a very impressive achievement in itself. What was it about tennis for you that kind of sparked your interest and kept you playing this sport specifically?
So tennis was kind of that beast I could never tame, and I still can't tame. Like, I remember as a kid, I played a lot of soccer and a lot of lacrosse too, but I was usually like the kid that would just like take the ball and go score, because I had this like raw athleticism that just let me excel in pretty much anything I tend to pick up. But like tennis, oh my gosh, tennis, it's a whole nother level. I felt like there was always something new to learn, new to master. And like even nowadays, like my biggest draw to the sport is just how complicated it is and how much there is to learn. And I'm a student, like, just for fun. Like, I've always loved school, so tennis is just another aspect of that.
Yeah, tennis is very easy to miss hit. There's a lot of like tactile skill involved. You have to be very exact. And if you're playing singles, obviously you're alone. So that's a whole other element of the game for you and any tennis player. Some athletes like watching the sport that they play, some don't. Is that the case for you? Do you watch tennis at all? Have you watched it growing up? Do you have any favorite tennis players?
This is actually an unpopular opinion, but like I don't really like watching tennis that much, unless it's like I like watching old tennis a lot. So like I'm talking like black and white, wooden rackets. I think there's something like so like interesting in seeing like the roots of the game and seeing how it's evolved. But as for like current, like modern, like professional tennis, there really isn't anybody I watch too much. Like I couldn't tell you who won the most recent Grand Slam. I couldn't tell you what the most recent Grand Slam was. And those are like the biggest tennis tournaments, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't really have any idols or role models. I just go out there and hit the ball.
Yeah, you just got to go and play. I mean, there's I think a lot of people get too caught up in just observing, and sometimes, hey, the couple extra hours that I'm watching that sport, I could be doing something productive or training or getting myself ready to compete. And some people, that's their vibe. Are you studying psychology? Is that correct?
Yes, I'm studying psychology, and I'm currently applying to do my master's here at UNF in clinical mental health counseling. So fingers crossed I get into that program.
Great. What's your game plan with that? Would you want to be a counselor or a therapist, or what really interests you?
A counselor, or maybe I might move on to my PhD after getting my master's and become a psychologist. I just really, I think psychology and tennis, like they're really like other sports you can sometimes like get away with, like not always like being like 100% like mentally tuned in, but like tennis, if you're a little bit just like the tiniest bit off, it shows up in your game like exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that like draw to psychology is intertwined with tennis. So I just want to be able to help people, fight their demons. Like
Yeah.
I sometimes feel like I am on the
Mm-hmm.
tennis court.
Sure. I mean, it's there's nowhere to hide, and it's one of those sports where people's personalities are really tied to their identity as a tennis player. I mean, more so than a lot of sports. You sometimes for baseball will get that with pitchers or quarterbacks, just because it's a little bit more, there's some singularity in there, and it's easier to see them as one person, as okay, that's the person's personality. It's coming out in their tennis. How do you like how do you manage that side of the game when you're playing? Because I imagine it's very difficult as a tennis player to be able to manage that more so than a lot of sports.
Yeah. So I think I've said this before in an interview, but I try to approach tennis as methodically as possible, and sometimes like detach my emotions, which doesn't work for all players. I know some players, need that motivation like from like their emotional core to, give them the energy to like fight. But for me, I feel like I play my best tennis when, like I'm removed a little bit from the court, as if like I'm a coach looking in, and I'm thinking, okay, what tactics can I use here? Like, what's the best way to approach this? So I'm so focused on like how best to approach the match and how best to beat this opponent, that there isn't any room like in my brain for these emotions. Like they're just completely and utterly blocked out. And I think that that's when I play my best matches.
So would you say for you that you don't really feel until the match is over, one way or the other?
Oh no, I definitely feel during the match. I just try to pretend that it's not,
Sure.
there. Because if I feel so much, like
Yeah.
my teammates know this, but like I have like a a bit of a like a mean streak, or like I sometimes my rage can boil over and I'll say things, that are, I usually would never say off the court, Sometimes the worst of us comes out in
Yeah.
tennis. But yeah, no, but that's not when I play good. That's when I usually like when my heart is on my sleeve, I'm not playing good tennis. Like that is not like who I am like as a tennis player. When I'm, like I said, a step back, that's where I should be.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's yeah, there's really not a lot of time to think in between points, and sometimes stepping back and be able to manage that is key. You're not gonna be yourself if your emotions are getting to you in a wrong, in a counterproductive way. But sometimes it does benefit you, like you said. Certain players do benefit from having their emotions come out, and some do not. How long did it take for you to kind of discover how you should play, mentally?
I think it took pretty much all my junior career. And I'm still figuring out a bit to this day, because, we learn as we grow, and every year, like you change as a person. It's like, what worked for current me wouldn't work for me just a
Hmm.
month ago.
Yeah.
But when I was a junior, I would usually like wildly swing between like way too emotional and like showing like having no emotion, like blocking out everything entirely. And then I would have like no energy on court. But I've discovered that like the best like median for me is feeling it, but not expressing it, and not like acknowledging it, just like it's there and it like energizes me. But what I'm thinking about is what, the tactics and, the mental side of everything.
Hmm. What for you is key in preparation for matches? Because tennis, um unlike, okay, let's say, some sport that has a ton of video available for pretty much everybody that you're playing, it might be more difficult to do a scout on an opponent. And then with tennis lineups, you kind of have an idea of who you'll play in singles or doubles, but you might not know for sure until that lineup is out, versus, you know, basketball, who those starting five is going to be, versus the lineup system's very unique in college. How do you prepare for an opponent in college tennis?
I think the simplest way to prepare is that I don't.
Yeah.
My teammates actually, they think it's a little bit, I guess maybe funny about me, but I do not want to know the name of my opponent. I don't want to know anything about who I'm playing. Like, I don't like, so, sometimes I don't even know what town we're going to be playing in. Like, I'll mix up the schools. I'll be like, are we playing UCF or UF? Like, which one is it again? Or like, what's the difference between like Florida State and Florida? But yeah, because I found that like tennis, like you never know what you're going to get. Like, anybody can beat anybody on any given day, depending on mood, just like if you're feeling the ball or not. Just tiny little things could set the tennis player completely off in the wrong direction. So I just go out there, like I try to gauge like what my opponent is playing like as like in the first game, like those first few games, like I just try to set the tone, play my like best game, which is like a pretty big game, big serve, try to come to net, put away the ball, like play to my forehand. And I gauge from there and I adapt from there. So yeah, I really just take it as it comes.
Sure. Yeah, and it's different too because you're preparing for a lot of players that play doubles and singles, you're preparing for 2 matches, you're preparing for 1 2 or 3 opponents per match. And yeah, obviously you play a lot of matches, so there's only so much you can really do to prepare day in and day out. As far as the tennis, as in singles and in doubles, what do you have a preference? Do you enjoy one more than the other? And what's kind of different for the layman in doubles versus playing in singles?
Yeah, so first, the difference in doubles and singles. Doubles, of course, as the name would entail, you're playing with another person and you're against 2 other people. And I feel like it's a completely different like emotional dynamic. Like I'd say a singles match is very similar to, boxing sometimes. Like it's like very intense, like one-on-one. But like doubles, I feel like there's more silly moments, like where we're all just having fun. And but like as like for me, like what I feel the difference furthermore between doubles and singles is that doubles sometimes like allows me to appreciate the game more from like a team perspective. So like I'm not just playing with some random doubles partner that I don't know because I randomly signed up to play in doubles for this tournament where I know nobody. It's no, I'm playing with my friend. Like I'm playing with like a teammate. I'm playing with somebody who like, I consider a sister. And I want us to do good. And if she's feeling down, like I want to pick her back up. And if I'm feeling down, I know she's going to pick me back up. Whereas like singles, like it's kind of like, yes, like you have teammates on the sidelines and you have your coaches, but like your struggles are really more like, like you're the one hitting the shot. You're the one making like the mistakes. You're the one winning it at the end of the day. So sometimes it's really satisfying to win a singles match because it was all you, just like in terms of who's hitting the ball on the court. But winning a doubles match is more fun because it's like both me and my doubles partner. It's us. Like we did this together.
Yeah, doubles in college tennis, just because of it comes first, I've always felt as a spectator too, is yeah, it can be more campy. It can be lighter at times, obviously, because you're playing with somebody else and just the nature of it for whatever reason. But also, there's so much energy because it's the first thing that's happening in that match. Both teams are really full of energy. It's 0-0. You're trying to get that momentum swing. You're trying to get that energy going, and teams know. You go up 1-0, that helps a ton mentally, looking at singles play. So I've always felt that it's had a different tone, to it. And college tennis brings college tennis is unique, and not a lot of people understand the structure of it and how the point systems work and everything. What's it like not really knowing where your match will fall in terms of importance, so to speak, in singles play. Obviously, like, if you're playing in spring tennis when it's best of 7 points on the table, you don't necessarily know if you're going to finish first or last. And you might be the deciding point, or you might just be another point, so to speak, for lack of a better term. What's that like? Does that ever come into play mentally as a player?
Yeah, for sure. I actually have a goal kind of. My goal is always to be the one who finishes first.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, let's say we just lost the doubles point. We're down 0-1. I want to be the person who like wins first and gets us back to 1-all. So like we're not down 0-1, like we're even again.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're up 1-0 after winning the doubles point, then I want to be that person to push us like the extra, 2-0. Like, hey guys, like we have a lead, let's keep pushing. As for being like the last person on the court, like it's really stressful, and I don't think it's really happened to me here at UNF yet. But usually I finish too fast for that to be a possibility. But that's good because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, play quick and get those sets over quickly. And like you said, if you play a bigger game, those rallies are going to be a little bit shorter too. Hopefully, based on the strategy. Guys won the championship last year. You had a ton of accolades. Has there been a favorite moment that you've had on the court, during the course of competition for you, over your career at UNF so far?
This is another thing I'm really bad with. I struggle to remember matches or like differentiate them. I'm like, oh, like, did we play Stetson or was that Kennesaw State?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't remember. Wait, that's the one where that happened. So it's hard for me to like pinpoint like a specific moment, but like I feel like it's not necessarily the moments that like are captured like on the court. It's not like the big championship wins that make my heart soar, or like it's not like winning the tournament. Winning the tournament is nice and all, but I feel like there's these like moments in between, like when it's us as a team hanging out at the hotel, or
Mm-hmm.
like just like us like being friends together. I feel like those are the moments that are most important to me as a student athlete. Or like just like moments in practice that nobody's
Sure.
gonna see, like somebody cracks a joke and like that's all I'm thinking about for like the next like 2 weeks at practice. And like the matches like are just moments in between where we can show what we've learned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's the benefit of being on a team and sharing those moments. Is that's why everybody's so much closer when you're on a team together. Looking ahead to this season, obviously you guys are aiming for 7 straight championships, which is just an amazing feat in and of itself. And then looking at the accomplishments from the fall, you achieved a top 10 ranking in doubles and a 32nd ranking in singles. When that was achieved for you, did you think that was going to be something that was possible at UNF for you?
I didn't even think like rankings have never been like a thought in my mind. Like I didn't come to UNF thinking like, oh, I want to be like ranked super high, or I want to win these tournaments, or I want to do this and that. I just came looking for like a good environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's nice. Like it's all gravy,
Yeah.
like having a 32 ranking and like being top 10 with my doubles partner. Yeah. Like it's great and all. But I think what's more important is like everything that I learned that got me to that 32 ranking, or all the moments I had with my doubles partner that got us to that 9 ranking. It's about the journey, not the destination.
Mm-hmm. What's been important in that journey for you to have that success here at UNF?
Just remembering that it's best to live in the present. Like so many times we can get caught up on, like I have this coming up and I want to be here, but I can't be here. And just remembering that like the present is something I should be appreciative of, that living in the now, like there's not another moment like the now.
Mm-hmm.
Literally it passes and it's gone and it's in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And just staying in the moment and remembering that I'm here to learn and I'm always here to grow. That's been the most important part of staying in the journey for me.
What have you guys been working on in the preseason? Anything different that stood out to you this year?
I think, I mean, in the preseason, I don't know if you mean fall or just
The
like
spring
this.
preseason, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the spring preseason.
Hmm.
Um, I'd say we're working on like not only like our performance skills, but this is actually something we just talked about today. We have like performance skills and relational skills. So, you know, who we are as a tennis player and who we are as a person. And what skills like we need to improve on to be a better tennis player and what skills we need to improve on to be a better person and thus a better teammate, and how that relates back into being a better tennis player. So I feel like been a bigger focus on not just, you know, repetition or, you know, getting out and playing points again, getting back into the flow of match. But coach is always so always put such importance on developing us as people. And I feel like that's been like especially prevalent in the past couple weeks that we've been training.
Yeah, that's big, and it can be hard to embrace that when it's the pressure of college athletics and the pressure of succeeding, and now you guys are first again and trying to get to the title again, and there's so much that goes on, and trying to simplify it and focus on being who you want to be can lead to that success. Sometimes it's inadvertent like that. Anything in your game that you want to bring out this year that you're looking to implement, or business as usual?
Um, Honestly, business as usual, but business for me is always working on new things.
Yeah.
There's never a single practice where I'm not thinking about, you know, like this needs to get better, this needs to improve, you know. It's never a dull day for me. But especially, you know, like I'm hoping that for anybody who comes out to watch, that you guys will see me more at the net. I need to really start, you know, closing out with volleys instead of, you know, grinding from the baseline and waiting for the winner from the baseline. Like I should be going forward and pressing my opponent. So yeah, hopefully we'll see that a bit more in the spring.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of chances of it. It's the benefit of playing in tennis in the South. We'll be outside quite a bit. You guys are starting on the road. This interview will come after the Florida match, but another one in Athens. You guys will be home in February. So thanks for taking time today, Kit. Good luck with everything. Congrats on the success that you've had, and we'll be watching you this year.